better time than now. Just stop for a moment, have a listen. Puppets talking real issues.
Attention, attention everyone. It's time for Pop-Up Puppet Theater for primates. I'm your host, Reginald Kong III, and today we will be talking about free trade agreements, particularly the Trans-Pacific Partnership. We have with us today Mr. Moneybags, one of the men working hard behind closed doors to make sure the TPP gets passed. He's an unelected but official advisor for the Office of the United States Trade Representative. He's here to give us an official statement from the propaganda department of the TPP after almost 3 years of secret negotiations. The government leaders of the 9 TPP countries think the Trans-Pacific Partnership is the best thing since peeled bananas. Mr. Moneybags, tell us why this agreement is so great.
Yes, thanks, Reggie. My fellow trade advisors and myself, representing the 9 TPP countries currently involved in private negotiations, are confident that this agreement will be a shining model for the next free trade agreement to come. Our friends, the corporations, need to keep expanding to keep labor costs low, to ensure those low prices the consumers, people, out there demand. Legislating these devastating trade models, free markets, in the Pacific Rim will really expand our trade capabilities. And just like NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, the Trans-Pacific Partnership will create more jobs and better living conditions for all my friends.
Well, that is very interesting indeed, Mr. Moneybags, because we have some guests here who seem to understand free trade agreements a little differently. A few young primates from several of the countries involved with the Trans-Pacific Partnership are here with us today. They have come to talk about their experience with trade agreements in their countries, in their own words. First, here is Carlos, with us from La Arroya, Peru. Oh, young primate, go ahead and tell us your story.
My papi worked many years at a metal smelter factory owned by a rich American named Ira Rennet. Since the company came to my village, many people have gotten very sick, and now my papi is too. The government here tried to tell Senior Rennet that he needed to build a sulfur plant to keep the pollution at, quote, safe levels, end quote. Senior Rennet got mad and sued the government, claiming over $800 million in damages, while the average wage for workers like my papi is less than $10 a day. Thanks to free trade agreement, Senior Rennet's company scared Peru's government and wasn't held accountable for its pollution and the sickness it caused. The smelter is still going today. Because of free trade agreements, we don't have access to affordable medicine, and so my papi is getting sicker.
Oh, Carlos, I think your words have touched us all, and I must say that is truly heartbreaking. Thank you for sharing with us your experience with free trade agreement. Let's see how Chin Young from Singapore feels.
I don't like it either, Mr. Kong. You see, Singapore has long been a major trading post in Southeast Asia's wealth management capital. Businesses like to use us to re-export their products with little to no regulation, making them lots of money by avoiding other countries' laws. We rely heavily on foreign food and medicine, and the Trans-Pacific Partnership will put unsafe food and medicine in the mouths of our people. There are negotiations about to begin in my homeland for the Trans-Pacific Partnership. We are scared of what the proposed investor states, the big corporations, will do to us and our economy. But we are even more afraid of what the government of Singapore will do if we protest. Because we don't have freedom of speech like you do here in America. We hope our brothers and sisters who can speak up will speak up and say no way to the TPP.
Well, you two certainly shed a revealing light on these free trade agreements. What they promise and what they deliver seem to be contrary. Mr. Moneybags, any response?
Well, these little children are obviously biased. Our friends, the corporations, have every right to the pursuit of profit. Happiness. These meddling kids are trying to stop job creation and the expansion of global consumption. Trade. We've been crystal clear that we intend to keep creating jobs, making the markets more competitive for workers.
That's an interesting point of view, Mr. Moneybags. Last up, we have Susie Q from the United States. Susie, tell us how you feel about all of this.
Well, I've never even heard of the Trans-Siberian Partnership. We here in America, we have a democracy, and we fight for our rights. That's why those internet censorship laws, SOPA and PIPA, didn't get passed. We really don't have anything to worry about here because our politicians are looking out for us. I mean, they made the Patriot Act. I'm sorry about the state of things in those other kids' countries, but bad stuff like that could never happen here.
Well, Susie, if you haven't heard of the TPP, does the United States really have a democracy? If there is nothing to worry about, why are all the negotiations held in secret? I thought that they were okay in my home country too. We were promised many things through trade agreements. My people wanted like healthcare, jobs, housing, and we got none of it, nada. I don't think these negotiating the Trans-Pacific Partnership really care about us people at all. I think they are only interested in making more money for themselves and their wealthy friends.
But he's lying to you, Susie. We do care about our workhorses. The people, we care. And we want them to be able to produce, live to the fullest. Think about all the choices you get to make, Susie. How many kinds of cereal you have. How many different TV shows you can watch. It's a democracy. The people choose who leads them. They vote with their dollars.
You know, I think Carlos is right. Having lots of choices doesn't make a democracy or create freedom. And what those kids are saying about the Trans-Pacific Orchestra seems bad for most of us. I think I even remember hearing about 700,000 jobs being lost after the NAFTA thing passed. My best friend had to move away because her parents lost their jobs and the bank took away their house. Now it sits there empty and they're homeless. I guess since they don't have free speech in Singapore, and that's where negotiations are happening, it's kind of up to those who have free speech to stand in solidarity with the people of Singapore against the TPP negotiations here March 4th to 11th. That's in 1 week.
Mr. Moneybags, what do you have to say about all this? These young primates seem to be very well educated on the issues. Are they right?
Well, you see, what these little children don't understand about their suffering is that it's a necessary product of progress towards global economic governance. Woo! How can our biggest corporations exploit the masses, compete in a world market, without loosening the grip of some stupid safety regulations in a far-off land, and without sharing American jobs at a lower cost to employers, of course, with our brothers and sisters abroad? We have scientific evidence which proves people to be very resilient, sometimes too resilient for their own good, if you know what I mean. So they can stand repeated small amounts of exposure to biotoxic chemicals and harsh working conditions, keeping those factory wheels turning. Those opposing the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, are overreacting and making assumptions. And this is why we have to meet in private. All these questions and allegations are a threat to national security. And besides, we fully intend to release all of the secret agreements years after they're well established. We obviously have nothing to hide.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. You have heard it from those negotiating these free trade agreements, as well as those who have no voice in them but are still affected. No doubt you heard about it here first. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, friend or foe, you decide. Keep your nose clean, delouse your neighbor, and have a great day.
No, thank you for watching. Now go tell your friends.